Newsbreak, brought to you by National Mutual.
Good evening, I'm Peter Hitchener. On the eve of the Premier's conference, Treasurer John Dawkins has signalled tough action to combat the growing deficit. While states will have to tighten their belts, most Australians will also suffer, with promised tax cuts almost certain to be reduced or delayed.
Treasurer John Dawkins threw the door wide open to serious uncertainty about those promised tax cuts. First, he told the Nine Network Sunday programme the cuts were set in concrete, part of the law of the land. But when asked whether they could be changed, delayed or dropped altogether, Mr Dawkins backed off.
I'm not going to speculate about any of that.
But they're either set in concrete or they're not. They're either part of the law, LAW, as the Prime Minister said in the election, or they're not. I mean, is there any chance they'll be changed, or are they fixed?
I'm not going to speculate about that.
In the same interview, Mr Dawkins revealed this year's budget deficit, $14.5 billion, more than $1 billion more than the original forecast. Those dark forecasts came as the state and territory leaders arrived in Canberra for tomorrow's Premier's conference. The states are increasingly alarmed at the flurry of indications from Canberra that the indirect taxation base is about to be broadened. They're calling it a GST by stealth. The premiers say no matter their political differences, they're united in refusing to bring in new state taxes or increase old ones, and if necessary, they'll take the federal government to court. Peter Harvey, Canberra.
There are hopes of a breakthrough tonight in an industrial dispute threatening car production in two states. Thousands of workers at Toyota in Melbourne and Adelaide's Mitsubishi plant face being stood down if the week-long strike is not resolved. 250 metal workers at the Unidrive plant walked off the job, halting the supply of drive shafts and axle spindles. After a day of talks, union officials have indicated they're hopeful of having a resolution to put to a mass meeting of workers at noon tomorrow. Cricket, and both sides are having a rest day with Australia in control of the third test. At stumps, England was just 70 runs ahead with 6 wickets in hand. Again, it was the Victorian pair of leg spinner Shane Warne and paceman Merv Hughes who swung the game Australia's way, each taking 2 wickets. With 2 days remaining, England is 4 for 122. The not-out batsmen Gooch and Caddick. Today's rugby league winners in the match of the day: Canberra defeated North Sydney 24-20, Canterbury too good for the Magpies 24-12, Penrith upset Newcastle 24-13, Parramatta 18, Easts 2 and Illawarra an 18-13 win over Balmain. AFL, Carlton 1-point winners over the West Coast Eagles and Collingwood too good for Richmond. Finally, in the national weather, fine in most capitals, showers for Melbourne and late rain in Adelaide. Stand by now for our exclusive coverage of the Wimbledon men's final. Good night.
This has been a National 9 News presentation.